I record it right now. The whole meeting's being recorded starting the second. You'll have the whole audio from this.
All right, I appreciate that.
I'm
Okay.
gonna hit
Well,
record as well, so you'll have my direct audio just from me from my computer. So if you want like pristine audio, you'll have that too.
awesome. I'm thinking about maybe 3 months. I should have the kind of setup you have right now to do this for better.
Oh, no worries. I just do the monthly sub because I use it so often with everything we do.
That is true. So my wife is going to love me for this. So we're actually naming this Buzzin Buds.
Okay.
You can kind of guess why, of course. So let me explain a little bit more of what we exactly do. It's a mutual gain. I'm trying to get my book series out there. And what I do is I just give any artist, any musician, any podcast a platform and I just spread it around like wildfire. I used to be a musician. I kind of know how to get people's attention. Um, Beyond that, I actually do help a lot of like writers to help them get on KDP. I'm not, planting Amazon here, but it's the easiest way to get published nowadays. I don't know if you,
Oh yeah.
I don't know
I've
if you
got
ever.
some books on there.
Okay, you will be sending me links so I can see this because I've already bought your work already, the whole campaign setting. But here, let me get into the actual questions I have for you because I think you're gonna like them. To be honest
Absolutely.
with you, I did a little bit of digging, so and some listening to things. All right, ready?
And I've put the link in there also for you, just because that's what I do.
Sweet. Oh my. No, because I have a list of books I'm reading. Actually, speaking of which, I'm reading How to Speak to the Dead: A Practical Guide, a handbook.
Awesome.
Oh, it is. It brings up the theory of gravity adding mass to the actual body. It's very good, and I'm actually using it for what was it research material. So I'm doing a story about a necromancer. If I can make necromancy in a cooler way using science plus magic, it makes people a little bit happier.
You may like Tasman Muir's book, which is called Gideon the Ninth. It's
Yes, I've
fantastic. Okay.
seen it. I have my wife won't let me buy every single book.
That one in
She
particular is necromancy pseudoscience. Very fun.
nice.
Um,
Okay, so
Also,
let's.
one quick thing. I do have a hard stop in an hour, if that's okay.
That is fine. I have two kids. I just got to go sleep, and a wife that is sick, and she told me if this wasn't the one you've been waiting for, I'd actually reschedule. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. Well, the 19th, I got an origami specialist, and it, just watch it. It's amazing. Lived in Connecticut, where I used to live. They have no idea. Okay, so I got 21 questions, which is hilarious because it's a game.
Ready?
Your picture is very serious, by the way, on Twitter, and to see the happiness is beautiful.
Well, I'm a horror guy, so I have to be.
I'm whatever I am. I'm a father at the end of the day. All right. So where did you go to school, and what made you go there?
Let's see. What year? Like high school, college, elementary
We'll
school?
we'll skip towards college because high school.
Okay.
That's I mean, maybe some people don't want to see you in that pictures. The yearbooks. They might look for it.
I was in a class of one for high school, so that's okay. I went to the Achievement Center. I was the graduating class top and bottom in my grade, so that's an easier answer. But I did that because I wanted to graduate faster, so I could get into
There.
college faster. Um, so I went to University of South Florida because I was told I had to get a degree. So I was going to get a degree in management because if I'm going to do something, I want to be in charge. And you need business kind of in everything you do. And I thought I was going to go into a family business. So that was sort of my path. However, I also went to the New York Film Academy for a few months before that because college doesn't start until the fall semester. And I graduated in December. So I had some time. So I went to the New York Film Academy in New York City for acting, where I studied a bunch of different styles. Really love the Meisner style. I got influenced kind of big by David Mamet with some things that like ideas that didn't percolate till years later. And I started getting into audio drama and editing videos as well. I also went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh to get a not a degree, but courses in game design that would equate to a degree, because I wanted to have some grounding in balancing, in particular, how to balance game mechanics and how to make something rewarding, incentives, things of that nature, because I was heavily fascinated by gamification of different things.
So it's funny you brought up your system. I just want to say this. My stress levels, if I remember the system, I'd be at heavier stress, but my sanity would be through the roof because of all the things I've read and seen. So it's kind of funny. I'd be this close to insanity, but I'd be sane. So it's like, oh, fucking Cthulhu? Yeah, whatever.
I'd be fine. High resistance.
Well, let's put it this way. I wouldn't really worry about Cthulhu. I'd be worried about if I saw Marduk the fire god coming. If I saw both of them come at the same time, that would mean it would be a Black Earth situation, which, nah, we all lose.
That's just like acceptance, though. It's not, you don't lose your sanity. Yeah. You're fine. You're like, yeah, F it. Okay. Yeah. It's a Thursday.
All right. So like I said, I planned these out pretty well, so I know I'm going to take you out by surprise. What is your process when you wake up? Like right in the morning?
Process when I wake up right in the morning. Let's see. I change into workout clothes. I disable an alarm system, and I let my dog out. That's exactly my process. And then I start making breakfast, and that's go straight into the rest of the day.
Let me ask you this. Do you make it for yourself, or do you make it for a group of people?
It's myself, my wife, and my dog, and he has very funny food that we put together for him.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually same with me, except it's usually getting everyone out of the house to go to Panera Bread because no one wants to freaking make anything. We just want to get out for a few minutes.
We're lucky. Right. We have a bagel shop nearby, so we have an unlimited supply of bagels, which goes very well with my Jewish heritage.
Asiago bagels. Oh, they're so good. Okay, let me adjust this a little bit here. Okay, fun one. What is the worst recording you ever did for any show? It could be anything.
Worst recording for anything was I was trying to record vocals with somebody for a music project, and they just didn't have it. Like they just didn't have it. They like had hyped themselves up, and they just did not have it. And when they got there, like there was nothing I could do to coach them to have it. It wasn't a lack of, there's the pitch issue, and that can be fixed with technology. You can't fix enthusiasm as it is. So if you're not confident, that can never be changed.
Okay, so basically they had the possibility of the talent, possibility of the tone, maybe change the music, but at the end of the day, it's just like, it's like a mouse, trying to get a mouse to become a hawk. It's just not going to happen if you can't get it project. Would that be correct?
Even if pitch corrected, it just like, it sounded like really weak. Like the vocals weren't there. Like if you're trying to project something, like your mouse hawk example is a pretty good one. You just need confidence.
Okay, that comes with age. That comes with age too, and also comes with being out there. Best example I've ever heard from anyone tell me. They said I was nervous for a show, and they said, "John, just play like you're in your own room, ignoring everybody else," and that works. All right, let's see here. Who do you look up to? And this can be this can be anyone. You could take hero aspect. You could take someone you look up to. Any form, fictional, doesn't matter. It just
easy example. I look up to my mom. She's incredibly positive. She gets stuff done. She is very much like me in some ways. And when she focuses her mind on something, she can accomplish it in a very quick period of time and bring the elements together.
That's admirable. My mother works harder than anyone I know. She's a CNA, so yeah, she's busy. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, this one I got to rephrase a little bit. I'm going to give an example of this one because my question is a little out there, to say the least. It won't make sense.
Okay.
To me, it does. All right, so let's say you're out for dinner, okay? No, seriously. My wording is stupid. It's very stupid here. Let's say you're out for dinner, you're with your significant other, and she's trying to tell her friends what it is you do, and they are outside your circle. They do not know anything about what you're talking about. How would you describe it?
How would I describe it, or how would I describe her describing it, or how would she describe it? Which of the three do you want?
Well, basically, you be telling her what to say. So it's basically what you would say. Not how she would say it, but what you would have coached her at this point to say.
Oh, she would describe it as I bring her stories to life with sound. That's basically my job.
Perfect.
In one sentence or less.
No. I mean, that's actually perfect because that's really what it is. I'm don't know.
You know, I get like the actors and I make the sound effects and I edit it all together. And she gives me a script. I make the script into a story.
The script I was unaware of, but the amount of work you do and why I was happy to talk to you is I understand when you can do so much and you're sitting there like, should I do this? My workload's this long. I can fit one more piece of paper up there.
Oh yeah, always.
You know,
Actually,
and
we're
that,
doing a class release for Necromancer class for 5e. You mentioned that, and I was like, that'll be done very soon. It's like 60 pages because it's complicated.
you need to read my book. You need to read what Lotus does. Okay, I won't say much, but four-armed necromancer fighting giants for their bones.
I like that idea. Actually, we just wrote a part about animating giants and then things that are larger than giants. And we spent a lot of time in there.
Think fighter, necromancer.
Mm.
It's actually really cool. But since we're talking about balance, how do you balance everything? Like, how do you keep things from overlapping?
In which sense? In a story, in a game, or in life?
Well, here's the thing. You're a multi-talented individual. I've done significant amount of research getting to see what you can do and what you have done. I know that sounds creepy, but that's what I'm supposed to do, so I can make interesting characters.
I appreciate it.
Yes. Actually, I'll give away something. The first question I asked, I knew all the information you just said. I did it so people would actually know more about you. Because this isn't just about me talking to you. This is about people getting to know you and how much you actually do. Because people hear Dark Dice like, that's amazing. I wish I could do that. Then you look at all of the stuff that's out there like, oh.
And to quickly clarify, I make 4 different shows, just for the listening. Yeah, Dark Dice, Liberty, The White Vault, and Vast Horizon. And my wife writes all of them except Dark Dice, and those are our main career is bringing those to life. And then my D&D ones just go to the hobby.
I love it. I have to get through them all. I have such a laundry list. I have so many books. No, I'm just going to do when I write and I type up and say what I'm reading, what I hand wrote. I'm going to listen to yours and all the other podcasts I have to do. There's so many, but I'm committed. Okay, so yeah, that's, I think you kind of answered how you balance it out is that you have set almost roles for each other and you guys do it together. I mean, that sounds like how you're balancing it is that your significant other is there to help you balance. Would that be correct?
We do keep each other accountable. I'll say that. In terms of balancing things, though, I do a lot of things and I try and automate batch operation. I will find the easiest solution that is the most efficient solution. So if I'm working on a new story, I just got a new story that I feel like suddenly cast and bring to life. So I've started casting that, but I'm also casting another story at the same time. So one casting call is already for like 3 different roles, 3 different potential stories. But I've already done casting calls for them already because our casting calls are not for a specific role. They are like kind of like a voice library. So people are pre-recording different emotions and I can see what their emotional range is. So if I have a story that's upcoming, I just go through my library and I'm like, oh, this person's great at being angry. They would be perfect for this role, and casting them respectively in those roles. So working a little bit smarter and saving time wherever possible and not procrastinating when you receive something so you can get it out to the world is helpful. And I think I lost you. Nuts. I'll resend you the invite. We'll probably delete this. I don't have an accordion nearby, or I could sneak an accordion track in here. I know, Yuzo. I like the sound of those accordions. I think the host lost internet connectivity. No. See if I can get you back. This is a song about an evil lich named Koshi the Deathless from Russia. Outshone by Mr. Death, calmly enjoying his last breath, the immortal Koshi makes a deal. Not alive, but not quite dead. Conversation is in his head. His head marks the beginning of his vengeful return. Haven't played this in forever, and I'm still waiting for you. Did I spike the microphone? I did not spike the microphone. Cool. Do a lot of video game covers. No, your internet's gone. You're not coming back. Very sad. What can I do? 72 hours till the end of the world. We've got some time left, but I thought you might like to know. 72 hours till the sky falls down, or maybe the night most will devour us all. And then I gotta remember the next part because I haven't played these songs in. But when lyrics now, okay, I got the chords. Now the lyrics, there's words that go with the song. But as the sky becomes a crimson inferno, I will be thinking of you. And when all time brings in the stars, they crumble, I will die thinking of you. See, still 48 hours till the end of the world. We've got some time, but I thought you might like to know. Just 48 hours till the final time. I don't suspect that all this writing is done, but when our star becomes a supernova, I will be thinking of you. And when the moon crashes right into us, I will die thinking of you. Just 24 hours till the fall of dawn. Wait, that's the wrong lyric. 24 hours till the fall of man. I don't remember this one. It's been a long time since I've sung, as you can tell, but hopefully this is some content to fill in the void of the interview, keep you interested or bored or whatever while other stuff's going on. Still no message from you, and you're coming back. So I'll put the accordion away, so you'll never know this happened. And we've got you. And you're back, maybe.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I have no flipping idea what happened. Everything just went dark.
Oh, no problem.
You know what my question was going to be?
What was it? Ready for it.
If you like programming, because everything you just said, spit of automation, PowerShell, Bash, and Python, it spoke of automation.
No, not so much, actually. It comes from my business world experience where we did that a lot for other companies with an outsourcing company that I had large involvement with.
Nice.
Automation.
Okay, so I get that's a fun question. I was waiting for this one. I know you knew I wasn't going to ask it either. Do you miss random encounters?
Singular. There's no S. There's no S. I miss being able to actually. You're oddly topical, but you're not going to know why until after the interview.
2019, 2020, you came back to it.
No, I know we're totally gone. The band is
Okay.
defunct, but I miss being the fans. I miss playing shows. I miss practices with the band. I don't miss as much traveling as we did or the long hours that we did. But I will say that playing music is fun, and playing your own songs and even cover songs of songs that you love is a lot of fun. To clarify, it's a video game cover band called Random Encounter, and it's not we used to have randomencounter.com, which I think was taken back by the dating site when the band broke up.
That's fair. I mean, that's kind of a good dating app. Okay, so this question I'm going to skip because it had to do with your love life, and your love life, it works with your work. So
yeah.
I mean, that's it. All right, this is a really fun one. All right, what was your first character? Why was it made that way? And what's the craziest, stupidest thing you ever did with them?
My first character. In which context again?
But usually, I would say D&D. I mean, unless you have Pathfinder, it's really just tabletop at the end of the day.
Gotcha. Okay, because there's all the different things. We're jumping.
Fair.
But with D&D, my first character was an orc who did not understand how causation could affect the game, and I was murdered by those evil humans that I was trying to destroy pretty quickly. Because that was my goal in life, was to end them. Because I watched a lot of Warcraft 2, and it's a fun game.
Correct, it is. And orcs are such a good character, Evans. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I have no words. I have no words for that. I'm just gonna keep going. I love it. Awesome. Okay. All right. So you've been a dungeon master for a little while, a little more than a little while, but I don't have exact how long you've been doing it.
Since the 90s, like 93, 94, around there.
Okay, so. Yeah. So you got that on your belt then. Then you're gonna love this one. Who was the worst PC without giving any names? What made them so horrible to deal with?
I can drop a name. I'm fine with that. His name was Kyle. He was really difficult to deal with. Basically, he would like fudge rolls. So he would always, you have to expect that he's always going to critical. He's always going to do max damage. So basically the game was everyone else is playing, but then for Kyle, you have like a whole separate encounter happening simultaneously just for him. And you have to like expect, because otherwise it's just unbalanced. Like everyone looks like a fool and he's just like taking over everything. So you have to naturally accommodate this person always rolling at least 2 criticals every combat, doing max damage and using a min-max character. So it's like, okay. With puzzles, that was fair. With everything else, it was kind of fair. But like, imagine the lead character in an anime, and then imagine that anime is your D&D game and you're not the main character. And that's sort of the situation.
Longest game I had going was over 6 years. It was a solo campaign. Sometimes my wife would join in. It was 3.5. I had no rules, no bound, and that's why I dealt with characters like that. My trick was I made homebrew stuff, and he went from level 1. Get ready for this. No joke. We had to get a special book. 120. I'm not. Yeah. And then I went to 5e and said, I like
5e is a lot more balanced. You don't have to pull quite as many crazy tricks. Even if someone rolls really well, you don't have to do quite as much, especially with skills, because the skills levels, they don't exceed a modifier of like 8. Unless you're that character for that one skill or, 2 skills, but you're not.
On D&D Beyond, I actually make my own homebrew feats for my PCs because it's just something I just wanted to have fun. And plus, I'm secretly putting them in my book, which they're aware of, and everything they do kind of flows with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm evil with that, but they all enjoy it. And my buddy's character's name is Ulk, an orc, and he hates beholders. Level 1, try to take on a beholder. Poor Ulk. Okay, so since you brought up your friend, do you ever fudge dice rolls?
Me? No, I enjoy the outcome too much. I The closest thing to fudging dice rolls are when my players roll the wrong dice using a digital dice roller. They're like, oh, I rolled a 1. Oh, sorry, that was a D1. Like, oh, well, obviously, yeah, I'm editing a piece right now where a character like basically died. And then I was like describing their death. And like, oh, wait, that was a D8. I was supposed to roll a 20-sided one. And then like, yeah, natural 20. It's like, your character does not die. No. So I'm really big on letting the dice kind of land where they go. And that's a big theme of my podcast and my mentality and what I do. Nice. Even though I always roll poorly, horribly poorly.
That's okay. You're a dungeon master. You're supposed to roll poorly. And then you're supposed to victimize and demoralize them when they try to kill the little girl on the street for some damn reason. You have to destroy them, make the little girl be a werewolf that rips their throats off for being horrible to people.
I just make them feel bad about it afterward. That's my...
Oh, that too. Okay.
She had a family of little werewolves back home.
There's some good one-shots with werewolves. Though, Curse of Strahd, you need to like level 1 characters and make them play within. Don't bring anything home, bro. Just ruin it. Okay. So, what's the actual gameplay like? Does it drain you? And when I say what it's actually like, meaning is it just like every other game where there's a bunch of craziness and you have to like downplay it so people can actually deal with it?
For Dark Dice specifically, or yes. Liberty Vigilance? Okay, so we're getting specifically in the Dark Dice podcast, which is...
And I'm saying why. I have not given any listen to the other two. I've heard things, but I can't ask you a question about something
no problem.
that I don't know, and it's out of respect. Now, would I do another interview for both of them? Yeah, but I got to listen to them. I ain't going to freaking ask you. Okay. I know.
But the answer is pretty easy. On both, it's the same. For Dark Dice, at least the first season, and also Liberty Vigilance, it's almost word for word what you hear, except that I forgot to be past tense. So I'll re-record all my lines in the past tense with the same tone. So I sound a little bit cooler instead of like, they did the thing. And it's like, they did the thing. And then the characters describe what their characters do. So when they kill something, they'll be like, I shoot him in the eardrum. And like, I'll use a few more adjectives, but Soren shot him in the eardrum really hard. But I'll use spooky intonation and such.
Hey, that works. That works. And we all love it. Okay, so what inspired the Silent One? What inspired that character?
Some very personal stuff, actually. I have a big fear of... Well, I have a thing called prosopagnosia, which is face blindness. It's a real condition that affects people, which is not medically recognized as a psychological disorder or disease in a real sense. So I can't recognize faces at all. That's just who I am. And someone abused that against me in a very weird and creepy way when I was in a band traveling the States, and like would just freakily approach me like, you have no idea who I am. And then they would just disappear and be like, but they would mention that they knew who I was, that I had prosopagnosia, and they would just vanish. That is messed up. And I never figured out who it was because I have the memory of a goldfish in visual sense. So I'd be like, I think it was a woman. Yeah, it was a woman, I think. I think she was blonde. Oh no, maybe she had black hair. I don't know. So the second someone's gone, I don't know what I look like if I don't look at myself. Things like that. It's really bad. So part of that, there are situations that have happened to me where I was in the woods and freaky stuff happened. There are some of the descriptors were things that Caitlin had written for another story, which I borrowed generously and with her permission. There are influences like that. But generally speaking, that's kind of like all the scary stuff that scarred me as a child all in one, because I don't like impersonators.
So for the sake, even though I have more questions, I do want to say this to you. It might not make sense now, but one day it might. So for instance, you have what you have, the only way I could possibly see you overcoming that in a very quick way, especially in a dangerous way, if you can clear your complete and utter mind from any distractions and just concentrate, with eyes closed, you should be able to actually feel someone's own energy and their own wavelength. And the only way I could see that you could actually do is if you could take that person's presence in your mind and give that a color. And every time they're near you, that's what you feel. And it's something...
I can't see colors. I have no internal visuals.
In here.
I have none in here. Like, that's the thing. I can't materialize anything in my head. separately from prosopagnosia, I have I think it's called aphasia, where something like that, where you have no internal anything, you just see
Oh,
blackness. So I'm like in the double dipped section where I have no visuals, no visual memory, no visual reckoning. So it's just extra.
you be if you were a character, honestly, I would put you as a monk because the amount of energy you probably have trapped inside you that you can use, you'd probably be a Goku. I'm telling you, you'd probably be a Goku with that because that's insane. Because if you could overcome that in some way and actually feel people's energies, it would be amazing what you'd be able to do. And you probably do it anyway. You probably talk to people, probably make them feel up, they make them feel happy or make them feel something. Because if you're not chained up in here with all that and you can really focus in on things, you probably do a lot of good. Maybe that's why you're so successful as you are, because you're that way.
Possibly. I have ADHD as well, so my focus is also like a laser pointer, which is I'm working on getting better with as I've now been diagnosed as an adult. But realizing and acknowledging that is the first step.
I'm sorry, I have to laugh because I'm thinking you as a cat holding a laser pointer. So ADHD version you holding a laser pointer going like this.
Well,
That's
that's
the only
also how I manage the stuff. Like I'm always laser pointering really hard on one thing until I'm on something else. So I'm never really bored because I'm always on something.
Yeah, I never stop working. I don't know what sleep is. I really don't. All right. So, how long did you work on the campaign setting? Since I've actually been going through it and using parts of it.
So prep for the game before the game happened as a D&D adventure that I ran with my friends or the cast of the White Vault who had never met before and never really talked to beyond emails was probably something like 40 hours. And then because I write out every description ahead of time because I can't come up with them on the fly because I can't think of things. And you'll notice there's like a lack of visual descriptors in lieu of like other senses because I'm really big on non-visual things personally. And as writing it up again for the book was probably another 40 or 50 hours combined with myself and someone named Ashley Navigator, who is a fantastic editor and just helped me make all the ideas look like D&D font, bullet points, etc. And then Parcel Studios, my friend Zach Hero, formatted it to look really pretty. And I spent probably another 20 hours compiling all the black and white artwork that was not original and editing it into a format where it would look nice, and then compiling the other artwork and commissioning various pieces that to fill in the blanks.
I don't have this on here, but this is my personal question because I gotta know: are you gonna make a monster manual or character things? I have the character portraits and stats because I would use the hell out of that. I'm not gonna lie.
But which ones? Which ones?
Like any of your creations. I'm talking about like how they got the campaign settings, but sometimes they have monster manuals that go with everything. I'm talking about like your world, like
Oh,
like
I've got
table.
I've got about 80 pages of it right now. I'm still working on it.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
You can
You'll
say
take my
that. You can share
you'll,
that.
you'll take my money later when it's
One day.
done.
One day. Yeah, we've got we're actually trying to do kind of a yawning portal thing where we have multiple one-off adventures that can fit in any world. And
Nice.
that's our big focus right now. We've got other stories to tell that are creepy
Sweet.
and that can fit anywhere,
I have every time that my PCs go to sleep, they go into your campaign setting. They keep dying and they keep going back to either fire pit or a place where wanties are. And and guess who's always after them? The silent one, the three eyes, all the way in the back, seeing them. They've already pierced their eyes, pulled their guts out, and they keep seeing them, keep restarting. If they die in their sleep, they can come back, but
Okay.
it's basically they have two lives. If you permanently die here, you permanently die here. You
So it's
can't
Nightmare on
keep
Elm
them.
Street.
Oh hell yeah! But it's the only way to keep it fair.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let me see here. Why the hell? Go away. Nope. Yeah. I'm one of them we talked about, and I'm not. That's going out. There you go. This one I actually have a problem with myself. What is the most post-published edit that drives you crazy. The one thing that you just needs to be perfect no matter what, every time. Either it's writing, either it's audio. It's just something that you have to always make sure. Like it could be how it's saved or how it's organized. It's always something that you have to do with your work.
I have to edit anything boring out. I'm very bored very easily because I have ADHD and because I am who I am. So if there are moments of silence that can be cut down by half a second, I will do it. If there's a podcast called The Black Tapes, which is very good at having dramatic tension and like very long pauses. And I admire that as an art form. I can't replicate it on my own stuff all the time. And I don't do it whenever I can get away with not having it, because I appreciate sort of that lack of stopping nonstop train of consciousness. It's like zero punctuation. Yahtzee Crenshaw sort of speaking keeps me entertained. Now, there are places where silence makes sense and is required and is important, but if I can avoid those in areas like combat, I hate combat. Combat has to be really quick and out of the way because it's meant to drive the story forward, not be the story. So things like that.
Fair enough. We don't need DBZ. We actually want some Hamlet here and there. I can understand that.
Well, DBZ is great. If you're playing it, it's awesome. But
that's when, for me, for when I played, something I didn't want to roll. I said, make a cinematic. Tell me how you do it. Tell me how you would take them out, and then I'll make a roll where I see needed. So that I can understand that drive it home. Because, listen, I fought an ancient dragon before. That thing takes forever to kill. It's ridiculous. All right. Trying to think here how I can say some of these questions. Won't work. All right. I'll just forget that. Oh, there's a question. Feel free not to answer this because you can. Okay. Were you aware that NADPOD and Dungeon Daddies directly referenced you and love your work? Were you aware of it? Did you plan that?
It was planned. I actually, the person who edits one of those two shows is a friend of mine, and we talk a lot, and had mentioned like, hey, check this out. And oh my gosh, their mentioning was humbling.
Humbling. No, more than humbling, sir. Listen, I finished NADPOD's for season 1. I don't care how many nerdy people there are in the world. That got lots of people done. The one thing that stood out was your podcast. That got me and probably, I don't even know the number. I've been trying to figure out your numbers left and right. Your followers I see, but the subscribers for how many listeners you get on Spotify, I couldn't find it. I tried. But
I don't know how many subscribers on Spotify.
But you see, my point is the amount of followers you have is what was confused me, because the work you guys do is immensely amazing. But I guarantee the listeners and the amount of time listened outweigh the amount of people that see your posts, which is something I wanted to fix, because I like good work. I am a snob with good work, and I'm a snob for story. I've been working in media, mixed media, nothing with money, but just my own things for over 16 years. So I am a snob.
Well, we've had, I would say on that, it's almost a question. And the answer is we have more listeners, way more listeners than we have people who are interested in any of our social media. I don't know how to really do social media very well. I'm not too savvy at it, but I enjoy elements of it. But I also would rather be creating than coming up with witticisms on multiple social media accounts. So that's where I often at times am.
I completely understand that. I mean, most of the time, honestly, I'll be working, I'll be smoking. I mean, this isn't tobacco. This is completely a hemp. It's a Delta 8 actually calms me down because I have bipolar. I take medication for it, but the amount of anxiety and fear I have for the world, this keeps me coming. That's why we call it Buzzin Buds, because sometimes my wife will be out having a drink or I'll be smoking. But, I mean, honestly, I'm trying to put this. Honestly, I like what you're doing. If you don't, you can't stop. And I don't want you to stop because you're giving hope to a lot of people. And that kind of leads me to, how has this Dark Dice changed you? Because, like I said, I haven't listened to White Vault. I have heard a little bit of Liberty. I'm saying it wrong. I don't want to say Liberty Stories, but I think I'm wrong.
The Liberty Podcast, Liberty Stories. I mean, I've got comic books and stuff too in an RPG world here.
Okay,
You're in the right spot.
I can't buy the comic books. My wife will kill me. I can get away with the books, but I can't do the comic books
Oh,
yet.
that's where you get them on Kindle. Wink, wink. But
I have Kindle Unlimited, so this might be an issue.
how it's changed, and I will clarify also. I have another band called Careless Juja, which is basically myself and my friend Paul and our friend Brandon. And the three of us are internet people. I'm the Careless and Careless Juja. Juja's the Juja, and Brandon is the guy who mixes it all together. We have like 200 followers after 8 years of being a band, an internet band, and releasing multiple albums and all these things. And really, at the end of the day, like I think we sold 5 of our last CD, mostly to family. Like my mom bought 2. So if there was no one listening, I would still be doing this. Is kind of the important piece that I'm trying to say here. The fact that it's taken off and done well, and it's allowed us to do a lot more cool things with it. I directed a choir.
I heard that
last year, which is crazy. It's like 10 minutes of music coming up for this next episode, and then we had Stephen directed an orchestra for a recent session for some new tracks that are coming up as well, for like 26 new minutes of music as we expand our world and lore and get it more refined to kind of break away. I would say the strangest thing for me is people coming together without me prompting them to talk about our stuff or to be interested in it. That's been really cool.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, but once you do something, it's basically you could have the best artwork in the world. You could be Da Vinci, have amazing things, but then until you paint the Mona Lisa, no one knows who the hell you are. Then everyone looks back and they're like, "Whoa, he's got a flying machine." That's what they're like. Okay, so now that I've broken the ice about you and how you've got to come to Dark Dice, I'm going to delve a little bit into Dark Dice itself.
Sure.
Okay. What hope is there for PC surviving your campaign setting?
It's as good as they are and their dice rolls are. That's the answer. Honestly, their odds sharply dropped with the first death of the campaign, because that person is very good at surviving horror situations. They're a horror writer by trade. And when that person died, I was like, oh, their odds are sharply down. I will say that I feel like I could have maybe been a little bit more harsh on the team, but I was happy with the end result.
You have something that's a demigod coming after them, and they're low level. I think that you are fair beyond fair. I think you're fine. Don't beat yourself up. Listen, they have powers. They're not like humans with a pitchfork. Like, oh my god, they're coming. They got spells. They got powers. They got wits, and they're basically playing a pen and paper game from a 4-dimensional aspect. They are seeing a world from another world. They can ask any single thing. If they're dying, then quite frankly, they need to get out of their own heads of that character and think, all right, I'm a freaking warrior. That thing can move through walls. I can't fight that.
Well, to clarify also, the goal of when we get together to play this specific podcast, our goal isn't to have individual fun or to survive. The goal is to tell the best possible story.
Fair.
So
Fair, I can see that.
Again, we have people who will willingly play to their character flaws to death.
Ooh. Fair. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense. All right. Dang.
It's a little bit different. The self-preservation drive, like it's no fun if everyone in the horror movies like sees the light flicker and they're like, no, you know what? I'm not going to go into that room. Then one's like, oh, I investigate things. I'm going to investigate the blinking light room. Like the horror movie is not fun unless you have somebody who's going to investigate it. So.
Mind you, my experience, I'm lucky enough to get my PCs to actually role play. When it does, the guy plays Ulk and he uses the voice of an orc. So you can tell why he gets inspiration majority of the time. Okay, so that brings me into my next question. How did you make the stress meter? Like, what inspired it?
Easily put, watching individuals that I know get really stressed out about their lives, and trying to avoid going the Darkest Dungeon route or the, what's the other one? Rogue Legacy route, where you're just like, here are a bunch of mental disorders for you on cards. Take the best 3, take 5, shuffle 2 back. Instead, it's just more of like a physical reaction to a terrifying situation that should be terrifying. But when we take it down to, we're playing D&D, this is like a haunted house, but I'm not actually even in the haunted house. I'm putting an avatar into a haunted house. It's a degree of separation mentally. So trying to get people re-engaged in the idea that you can play kind of a scary, fun game and have the haunted house experience, because your characters are having things happen to them that are scary, and they're reacting in a way that would imply that they're scared of the situation, instead of, I am unkillable, I'm going to survive the situation, paladin level 20 going to town on some undead.
Yeah, I can see that. So it's actually kind of funny. My next question, because my last 2 questions, the last one I'll hit, but the one before that was just self-promotion. So I'm gonna throw that away. I'm already pretty sure I gave you to read at least one of my books. I'm pretty sure. If I had to send you a copy, I will. But since you mentioned this, I was thinking about this question on my way home for bringing the boys to sleep. Have you ever played the game House on Haunted Hill, the board game?
Absolutely. It's a great game.
Heck yeah.
It's fun. I don't like the expansion as much, but the original game has some really great surprise scenarios that beat you up. It's like the haunted house, Scooby-Doo, you guys arrive, what's the mystery? You don't know the mystery until like midway through, and then you find out who the bad guy is.
I was the granny, and I turned into a fire-breathing red dragon.
That's delightful. So that sort of stuff is like why I love that game, because it's always a surprise.
It is. And you were talking about you did business correctly. You did business because it basically tells everyone in the world that I know what I'm doing. And I applaud you for that. You did art in your own form, and art is everything. Art is everything you're doing. You can easily call yourself an artist every day of the week because of what you do, whether it be audio, whether it be writing, whether it be just how you work with people. That's art. You did mention a bit of game design, and I will say, are you open to eventually making a video game for what you're doing?
Yeah, that may be something that would happen. It would have to be the right circumstances, but the answer is I'm open to those things, but it have to be the right team, etc., the right circumstances.
Yeah, I don't know Python well enough to get that going for you. If I did, I totally would, but I got books to write. But when I switch over to tech in a few years, if I can get Python and what the heck is the other one called? It's the same thing you use to make Avatar. I'm trying to remember what it was. Blender. Python and Blender go together. If I can figure those 2 out, it would be pretty much a snap, especially because your game mechanics are actually not that hard to put into a video game. The only thing people would have to get used to if it was an MMORPG, which wouldn't make sense. So if you want to do it kind of like basically follow in your campaign settings and follow the path of the actual characters, the stress and sanity meters would be hilarious to use because you could just do pop-up scenarios everywhere you go. It sounds like it'd be like a mixture between Fable and oh god, what's a good quote?
Witcher?
Yeah, Witcher, but Witcher's alchemy was bullshit. I'm sorry. That was bullshit. I played Witcher 1. I just sat there. I'm like,
Witcher 3 is where it's at. Just skip to 3.
No. Here's the problem. Okay, for instance, I'm reviewing someone's book. He's on the 6th book. I promised him I would actually go through the first one and go all the way up, and I would review each and every one. I don't care how crappy it is. I don't care. Now I'm talking about the book. Now we're going back to Witcher. I don't care how crappy Witcher 1 is to me. I'll go through the whole dang thing, go all the way to 3, so I can appreciate the journey. It's just like playing Diablo. Diablo 3 is great, but if you can't appreciate 2 and the amount of BS people could do to each other, then yeah. I mean, Diablo 1 I didn't play because I can't stand the graphics. It makes me feel sick. But you have to appreciate where you come from. Which actually brings up a great point. Because there was another question I want to ask you, because I know we're running low on time. Favorite classical composer?
Nobuo Uematsu. He was recently listed as one of the top living classical composers of our era by, I forget the body that mentioned it, but it was a legitimate body that recognizes classical music, named him as one of the top composers of our era. And it's just like, yes, of course it is. He
Nice.
signed my accordion, and I've seen him in concert a couple times. I almost worked with him on Dark Dice
Sweet.
until health issues that he's currently going through prevented that.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I probably should know this name. I don't know what he's done for work, and I feel like a horrible
Oh, no,
person.
no problem. You don't have to. He's done the Final Fantasy series
Oh
and
dang it!
among
I
other
knew that freaking name. I'm
key
sitting here like
soundtracks.
I was sitting here scratching my head. I'm like, I know this guy. I know
No
this guy.
problem. He's if you're not specifically into video game music, I can go down tangents on accident, not realizing I've gone too far down a rabbit hole.
It's
Nobuo
funny.
Uematsu is the classical composer of Final Fantasies 1 through 10, and then a couple of others.
Well, I can say this. I can still recite the words of three songs from the band The Pillows from the anime FLCO. So most people have no idea what I'm saying.
Oh,
I can
I
still.
do.
Actually, have you? So you've seen that anime, correct?
I haven't actually seen the whole thing, but I know the anime and I know of the music. I'm aware of it. One of my friends who's in the band Random Encounter played music from it rather regularly at
It's not.
forums.
It's not bad, but there's a lot of weird references in there that kind of look a little odd. But you just gotta say it's Japanese. So that does bring up a question. It's more personal for me. I'm dealing with it in my book because of how my son is. How do you deal with the emotions you have? And let me explain that in a better way because not many people will ask or understand this question. Because you've been a musician, you are an artist, and you are a writer. You portray the entire world that you, as you see it, with these works. So when you have something that makes you sad, like you're sad, how do you work that out? Do you write something? Do you play the accordion? How do you get those emotions out with work or at
Uh,
all?
I usually bury them to work. I would clarify. I don't typically have time to reflect. It goes in with how my mental process works.
Mhm.
So I have almost no time for internal thought or like, why do I feel this way? Or how do I feel?
Mhm.
Um, I express those emotions through relaxing and not doing anything or playing a video game. Like those are kind of, or watching a TV show that makes me feel good, or listening to music that makes me feel good. Being creative is just what I do as like breathing. It is my career full time. It's become that, which is crazy. It used to be kind of a route of expression through music, but it would just basically change my baseline to "you are happy" as opposed to expressing something sad. Um, if that makes sense.
No, no, it does. You're probably not aware of this. So the way you are, and I'm not trying to put you on a pedestal, but I didn't expect this at all. I've done a lot of
Haha.
research. I do a lot of research. I lost a sibling years ago, and when that happens, your brain goes through a chemical reaction where you basically obsess on the life after. I guess making a book about necromancer doesn't help that situation, but when I went into like Zen, there's a few books, Unfettered Mind by Taku Shanto, Miyamoto's Book of Five Rings, and Minori's Life Giving Sword. All of those have a certain Zen-like quality, being voidless. There are people that would do drugs, smoke, drink, whatever, to get the mindset you have. You meditate for 1 second and to continue that, it's almost conscious breathing. The fact is that maybe you aren't aware of this, but you actually are in a Zen-like state, and it may not feel that way. That most people work a good amount at. Like I said, I'm not trying to put you up here, but the way you describe your process, even if you get a little stressed, even get angry, instead of being bogged down so much by internal thoughts, you know exactly what to do. I mean, that's impressive for any human being to be able to be like, you know what, this bothering me, I'm not going to do this. Instead of having the anxiety bog them down. I don't hear that often.
Yeah, I really can't work if I'm anxious, and I'm rarely anxious. So I'll usually find a distraction to work on something and just focus on that. But I would say also that it does have its downsides. I can't remember what anyone looks like at all, ever. And that can be problematic for memory and other things like that. Also, there's no magical Zen moment. It's just I could also be seen as being not sociopathic, but maybe kind of like those sorts of tendencies because I'm not very good at expressing emotion. Because I don't, so that it has its other side to it. Creatively.
No, I'm aware of that. Most people would need that clarification, but more people could learn from how you handle things and be better off. If people have to consciously breathe, that makes sense to you, to get through their days, and we don't do it. And like I said, I'm not putting on a pedestal, I'm not saying that everything about you is perfect. But I'm saying is your drive and the way you control yourself with the drive, what you do, isn't something that's normal, and it's actually admirable, which is another reason why I wanted to grab you on here, because everyone sees your work. No one really sees you in the light that maybe they should. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
it kind of does. I would also say that sometimes I do specifically create moments in what I'm working on to feel emotion or to make others feel emotion. For instance, we lost a player character. A character dies in our story, and it was like, okay, how do I make people actually care about this? I don't think anyone has ever really cared about a character dying in like the first 7 or 8 episodes. Like you just met this person, they're now gone. How do I make you care? So we had a funeral, and like that was like, okay, like that was something that didn't. The characters did say a few words and did stuff on their own, but it was extended for the purposes of dramatization. I do add things to try and make it more interesting. So I can like, I'm not the one giving the lore drops all the time or telling people about the lore of the world. I'll give it to a character like, hey, can you read these lines of dialogue? And I'll just snip it in the middle and no one will know, but it'll sound more in world. And with you describing these things instead of me, like you see a room, oh, hey, there's a room up ahead, things like that. The same words are being said more or less, but the information can change. And I think creating emotional moments of like check-in, like, hey, someone just died or something just died. It comes back to the stress system. Like, hey, you just killed a person. Is your character normally murder people? No? Okay, well, maybe that should be stressful for you. And maybe they should have a reaction to being a murder hobo. Like that's something you should feel your character should be going through instead of just being like, yes, I'm a total happy sociopath all the time.
Perfect character concept. We have 1 minute, and I'm going to respect that. Listen, I've enjoyed this quite a bit.
Well, I'll give you, if you need more, I will give you a little bit more because we got cut off in the middle. If you need like 2.
Yeah. I'm just going to, because there's something I wanted to give you at the end of this. So I do apologize for my demeanor. I've been up since 8 in the morning and I've been working. So I am tired, but this is my 3rd double espresso to get this done today. I wanted this done. You have no idea. I really do appreciate what you're doing. I really do appreciate you letting me interview you. My company, we don't accept money because I'm not paying $639 until I see a reason to for a business license, number one. But it's nice to actually get to show people what they don't normally see. The man behind nearly everything and how he truly is. That helps inspire people, especially people who don't believe they can do anything. It does help. But I wanted to kind of give you a platform to either ask me or any questions that you might have or interest or why ask questions, or if there's anything you really want to say to people, anything you want to get out to the heavens, even if you want to yell out that what that guy, I'm trying to remember his name. I'm gonna say Kyle or Kevin. I know you said one, but if you want to tell me that guy's still an a-hole, I don't know.
Oh yes, but that's okay. That's not something that everyone needs to know.
No, I get that.
But I think the important thing is that since this is a show for people to listen to, I think that, you can do it. You can create your own stories. You can influence things. You can create your own. If you wanted to make it a podcast, it's not very difficult. It seems surprisingly daunting, but when you actually look and sit down and say, what are the steps? And you realize there's only like 3 and you have 2 of the 3, it's not that scary. And it can be done in a way that can be done well. And you can build just by being consistent with trying to do something and working at something as a hobby. It can become more than a hobby potentially if you get good enough and get lucky enough, because luck is a huge factor in making the jump to a career.
I'll agree with the luck. but I also think you got to actually just try and actually devote. If you don't devote and actually try and believe in yourself, you're not going to get anything. You're just going to get what you deserve, because if you believe you're going to fail, you're going to fail. If you believe you succeed, you're going to succeed, but you have to do that every single day. But I want to thank you because this has been wonderful. And feel free to call me and actually talk to me anytime besides this, because you're a wonderful person. And I said to everyone, really, I'm partially able to talk to people.
Well, that's okay. I'm always editing. That's basically my life. So I'll be getting back to that. But
I know, I got you.
It's been fun, and I appreciate being on the show.
No problem. Yeah.